I'm Ryan Newman, and since I started with Indiana Donor Network and Driven to Save Lives, I found out that some people think that they can't be an organ donor. The truth is, anyone can sign up to be an organ donor.
Anyone?
Anyone?
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm sure. Anyone can sign up to be an organ donor. So don't count yourself out because somebody's counting on you. Go to driventosavelives.org and sign up today.
But my heart's going to you, Ryan.
Love that shirt.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another night of iRacing action here on the National Racing Network, where tonight it'll be the stars and cars of the Indy Pro 2000 Championship, taking on a new-ish venue here to NRN, but quite frankly, one of the best in the world. We are heading off to Lime Rock Park, Lakeville, Connecticut, a place that Juan Manuel Fangio II turned a lap in 45 seconds. Back in 1993. Absolutely crazy fast this place can be. It's basically an oval if you don't run the silly chicane that we're going to run tonight into the uphill. But my name is Chris Graham, joined in the booth, as always, by Mr. James Watson and Mr. Patrick Byrne. And I'll tell you what, here, James, as we get ready to roll for qualifying, this place is going to put on a show for us tonight here, I think.
Oh, yeah, it's the quintessential American road course. You've got tight corners, you've got a lot of elevation change, you got a great balance of corners, and in the case of many tracks, you have a very poorly designed chicane that kind of ruins it. But outside of that, like, you've got incredible corners. Like, there isn't a corner on this track except the chicane that doesn't suck. Like, this track is always a blast to drive, no matter what you're driving. Even high horsepowered cars that are trying to take air over the hill, which we're not taking because the chicane.
Yes, that is correct. I will say a little bit unfortunate that we've got to run this layout, but still, either way, Patrick, really cool to be back here with the Indy Pro guys because, quite frankly, this is kind of the show that everybody wants to see.
Yeah, Lime Rock has always been one of my favorite tracks. If you look on the back of my daily driver, my truck, I got a sticker of this track right in the back of it. I always love coming here. Bratwursts in the infield are fantastic, and the racing is just about almost as good as the bratwurst from the infield.
Yeah, that is correct. As we're starting to see laps coming in, Joseph Heath, 47 seconds. Ron Eskew now moves to the top of the board, 47.544. Mobin Khan, even faster, 47.464 seconds. Got a good field here tonight, too. 22 cars on the entry list as the law firm Alexander Wesley Hazelworth puts himself up into third position. And that is who we're following along with here, 47.652 seconds. The lap timer record for Hazelworth, Joseph Heath, and Simon Bell, the top five. Thus far, only Ryan Martin not on the racetrack right now. Actually, also seeing David Porcelli not yet out onto the speedway for his qualification run, but you got a lot of time. Brian Lamarge was quick time at a 47.411. Rod Eskew, even faster. Mobin Khan, even faster, 47.183.
You know, I wish I had timing and scoring for when I was up here for historics, because if these things are running 47.1s, they had an Indy Lights car from 97 up there, which make considerably more power and downforce than these things do. I'd love to see how fast that thing is running this track, especially not running the chicane.
Yeah, an open wheel car. Well, yeah, I say without the chicane, these guys are probably on track record pace, because you do lose a ton of time as Everett Paddock moves himself up into the 4th position, 47.428 seconds. Let's pick up Mike Collar, Citizens Climate Lobby, number 7 car, finishing up his qualification run. He's going to slot into position number 9. Let's pick up David Porcelli.
Fangio's lap record was set on this circuit configuration. It was run with the chicane in 93. They started using that chicane in the late 80s.
That's still crazy. At least we're not running the silly West Bend chicane up here. That's one of the worst chicanes in motorsports.
Oh my god, it's so terrible. And the slowdowns are coded so horribly. You just look at the grass and you have to give up 2 seconds. I
don't think that chicane is ever used in a competition setting here. I believe it's only used when the racing schools come in.
So, David Porcelli getting the green flag on his hot lap. Mark Mallard getting both of his laps in. Neither of them will score. So right now we're down to Ryan Martin and David Porcelli getting out on the racetrack here with about 3 minutes left in the qualifying session. Got to thank everybody that's tuned in here on YouTube here tonight. Thank you very much. We appreciate you coming to hang out with us, and make sure you get the comments in, and we got the super chats and all that kind of fun stuff open as well. But the more you comment to us, the better this show does in the YouTube algorithm, and makes people want to watch it. Makes YouTube recommend it to people and stuff. So lap number 1 for David Porcelli, only going to be good for 12th quick at a 48.294. 1 full second, in fact 1 and change seconds off of the quick time set by Mobin Khan. A little bit of a bobble there through turn number 2 for Porcelli. He may have some work to do. Love that look off the side of the downhill. These cars just absolutely fly through there. Lap number 2 for Porcelli will go up on the board, and he only improves to 11th quick. 47.907, about 3/4 of a second off the pace. Let's pick up now Ryan Martin carrying the number 18 here tonight. New face to the NRN airwaves. Martin getting the tail happy out of the bottom of the downhill. See what lap number 1 looks like for car number 18. It will be good for 17th quick, 49.543 seconds. Kind of finding and flipping his way through the gears through turns 2 and 3. What should be one of the best right-handers in all of motorsports is instead a chicane now here this evening. Obviously, you don't want the cars getting up airborne over the crest of the hill, but
we replace that with sausage curbs that will make the car go even more airborne.
That is affirmative.
They were going over the hill.
See, well, in the real world, they were worried about cars flying up and killing the marshal that sits there in that marshal post right across the hill.
That is exactly right.
With the ground effects cars, I believe it was 86 or 87, they had, all of a sudden you crest the hill, you lose the entire downforce, all the seal, everything from the car, and you'd land and you'd just spin it. So unfortunately we need the chicane for those beasts, but since we don't run prototypes here anymore, I say bring the jump back.
I am going to say, since it's the virtual world, bring the jump back.
Well,
we can't actually hurt anybody.
When we run this track in Camel, we run it without the chicane.
As it should be. Let's take a
Win
look
men something.
at the starting lineup for tonight's race. All new front row for us here. Mobin Khan in the Dr. Dauber, number 8, lining up alongside that stunningly beautiful Philadelphia Flyers livery belonging to the number 5 of Rod Eskew. Row number 2 will have the NASA meatball of Brian Lamarge on the number 6, and Everett Paddock. Let's refresh our paint schemes here because the graphics aren't wanting to play nice with us.
Yeah, that is definitely not the TNT Racing paint.
I was going to say, that's not the right paint. Now we're going to get them. So we got row number 1. Now let's show you row number 2, and there's the TNT Racing paint scheme of Everett Paddock. Row number 3 will have the law firm Alexander Wesley Hazelworth, not running the Ferrari colors on the car this season, but Joseph Heath back with that familiar Pennzoil yellow submarine outside of row 3. Row 4 will have Brian Molitor lining up alongside of Sam Carasala. Row 5, Mike Holler in the Citizens Climate Lobby, number 7, and Ben Carswell in the Team Watson Racing setups, number 16. David Porcelli in the number 1, lining up alongside the TNT Shock, number 11 of Simon Fell. A little bit surprised to see both of these guys back on row number 6. Row 7 will have Cole Trexler alongside of the Homestead Coffee, number 9 of West Shire. Ryan Martin putting himself up into the 15th position alongside of the 14 of Derek Castor on row number 8. Row 9 will have Thomas Johnson in the 15 alongside of Ian Starup in car number 17. We got the players' colors back on the track this season. That's a good one to see. Fernando Gava alongside of James Molyneux on row number 10. And row number 11 will have Piotr Przybylski, and Mark Mallard. I'm actually not terrible with the pronunciation of Polish language names. I'll screw your name up a bunch though, Peter. Sorry, brother. Denelson checking in the comments saying, nice graphics. Thanks, brother. Appreciate it. So field will make their way through the big right-hander here at the end of the downhill. Mobin Khan bringing down the field incredibly slowly for the start. Pace car already well on pit road. Great flags in the air. We are underway here at Lime Rock.
Oh boy, we're already 3 wide.
3 wide into 1. This is going to either go really well or really poorly. Brian Lamarge looks up the inside of Eskew. He's going to get the pass completed. It looks like everybody able to make their way through. That's impressive. We talked about it. This chicane is going to be one of the dive bomb spots that we see cars just really going for it here tonight, James. And quite frankly, the track is so short and the laps are so fast. You kind of have to capitalize where you can. Maybe into turn 1, but absolutely into that chicane.
It's also not easy because this track is also incredibly narrow, especially in that chicane. Like, you cannot go side by side at all. So it's dangerous if you want to throw a dive bomb, but like you said, you kind of have to. There's no real passing zones because it's so small and it's so narrow. It's hard to get that run and hard to set everyone up.
Looks like possibly a couple of incidents early on in the race here. Let's take a look. See what happened here to Ryan Martin. Yeah, he got squeezed. And then non-consensual left side loving, and the car almost beaches.
That goes back to what I was talking about. You can't go too wide there. He tried to keep in it because if he didn't, he was just going to get freight trained with everyone lined up. But as you see, you just can't go side by side through there.
Yeah, and now we're looking. That's exactly right. Now looking at Brian Lamarge, Rod Eskew, Alexander Wesley Hazelworth. In fact, all the way back through about 14th, 13th place is all in one long draft line here. already a 2.5-second lead for Mobin Khan over Labarge. And Bizzle, as much as we talked about this place is short, it's the bull ring of road courses, whatever. You've got 30 laps. You don't have to go ballistic in the first couple to get a pass me.
You don't have to go ballistic in the first couple, but you do have to get on it a little bit. These leaders are absolutely pulling away from the rest of the field. There's a 1.5-second gap between third place Rod Eskew and fourth place Hazelworth. So if you're a guy like Brian Molitor, Everett Paddock, you got to get around Hazelworth and start trucking your way onto the front of the field before it's too late.
Well, good call on the Paddock versus Molitor battle, as that's working its way down towards the chicane. Oh, big dive.
Whoa.
Wow, who was that? Oh, Porcelli getting
contact.
squeezed a little bit there. David Porcelli going to lose a couple of spots up the hill.
Yeah, I hope he didn't get damaged from that.
Looks like that may have been Sam Carasala. Right up underneath the Brian Molitor. Joseph Heath now going to have the look. That's going to be back to the 8th position, as Mobin Khan again sets the fastest lap of the race. That section of the racetrack is so tricky because it feels like it's off camber the entire time. Even if it's just bone flat, it feels like the car wants to get away from you through that whole kind of 2, 3, 4 complex.
Yeah, Paul Newman straight is so much fun to go through in any car because you can straight line it, but you're cutting it real close, and if there's someone trying to get next to you, it can make it a real squeeze.
Let's take a look, see where we want to move up to here. This is among the best battles on the racetrack right now. This is going to be Carasala, Heath, Holler, Porcelli, and Carswell. Alexander Wesley Hazelworth catching up on Rod Eskew. Ryan Labarge just ahead. This is 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, making their way down the front stretch. This is maybe a little bit of what we expected, James. We talked about how this race was either going to be an absolute barn burner or kind of a freight train parade, because if you got a little bit of separation, sometimes that's just enough to not even let somebody catch up to you, unless they're going to make the big dive bomb attack.
Yeah, I mean, this track is so small that the draft is not going to play factor at all, so it's not all that surprising to see the race kind of play out like this. Like, you're going to need a pretty serious mistake to reliably pass someone unless your racecraft is absolutely god tier, which is the case for a lot of the guys in this series, but even for guys as talented as this, making a pass here is risky.
Hazelworth really started to catch up now on Eskew, but Eskew's only a couple of car lengths back of Labarge out of turn 3. One of the other things we heard a lot discussed in the practices before this, Bizzle, was the fact that if you hit those curbs hard in the chicane, you could potentially even get meatball level of damage to the front end of the car.
Yeah, these things are not built like GT cars. The IMSA cars absolutely tear up that chicane. They basically straight line it just like you do down the Newman straight. These things, however, are a lot more delicate. They don't like quick, rapid bumps like that. It's almost like hitting a pothole in a semi-truck versus hitting a pothole in a Prius. You're going to destroy the Prius, but a semi-truck's just going to roll right over it.
Or a Honda Fit.
Oh, too soon.
Yeah. It's been years now that he... Well, I can't say he wrecked that car. He got wrecked.
If somebody didn't wreck when they do this. Miss that car.
That is exactly right. Let's take a look, slide back, pick up David Porcelli and Mike Holler. They are battling for position number 8. Holler going to have the look up the inside, down the Sam Posey straight. May get the pass completed before they get to turn 1. Not quite, but he's going to be able to complete the move here. See if Porcelli can cross over into 2, and he will not. It's David Porcelli back to position number 9. A little bit of a surprising start to the season here for Porcelli, James. I mean, he's one of those guys that multiple championships in this car, won the championship last season on the strength of really good finishing consistency in the 8 races he was able to make. You kind of can't do that if you're going to miss races and have to use the drop weeks as actual drops. You can't have 9th and 10th place finishes and win a championship in this car.
Yeah, but this place is a wild card. You know, I've touched on it a million times already, but it's not easy to pass. It's a qualifying track, really. So if you have any sort of issues in qualifying, it's not gonna be great for your hopes of ending up with a good finish, even for someone as insanely talented as David. And plus, there was the earlier shenanigans anyways, so yeah, just gotta hope if you're Porcelli that there's gonna be some sort of chaos, which still could happen, honestly. You never know.
Yeah, let's do a lap on board here with David Porcelli, because turn 1 is so deceiving. It just kind of appears on you. You got to really work it as a double apex. Then you get out to turn 2, the kind of only left-hander on the racetrack. Immediately switches you back to turn 3. You can see the back end of the car stepping out. And then you get onto one of Bizzle's favorite parts, the Newman Straight. This place, one of my favorites. Make the chicane, and basically what it does is, like we said, it takes out the jump on the uphill. You're right back in to the west bend, big sweeping corner, and then downhill, and even larger and more sweeping corner. Interesting that Porcelli not full throttle all the way through that corner.
Yeah, the final corner is incredibly difficult to go through full throttle. It always seems and feels like you can do it all the way till you get to the very exit of it, and that grass approaches you very, very quickly. It's a tightening radius corner, which is a ton of fun to try and drive quickly through.
Back up to the battle for the 2nd position. Labarge, Hazelworth, Eskew, Molitor, Paddock, even Sam Carasala. Kind of in the ballpark there. Carasala a few seconds back, but all of these guys 6 and change seconds back of Mobin Khan. As Hazelworth gonna have the look on Labarge down Sam Posey straight. Oh, almost contact with Eskew as he comes through. Who said you couldn't race close here, James? That's absolutely white-knuckled the entire time, though.
Hey, I said it was difficult. I didn't say it was possible.
That's the part that stinks, is how you have to get single-filed out to go through that chicane. So all the momentum you build up into that right-hander at the uphill, you kind of just give back, and it's like everybody starts from scratch.
Yeah, because if they weren't going through the chicane, we could honestly possibly see them going side by side through the hill down into the last couple corners, which is a sight to behold, honestly.
Molitor able to get around Brian Labarge, so it's now going to be Hazelworth 2nd, Eskew 3rd, Molitor 4th, Labarge 5th, Everett Paddock holding on to the 6th position. It will be cross flags and halfway home this time by. Peter Przybylski and Fernando Gava both going to be out of this race. There's still 20 cars on the lead lap. This group just now coming past the 18 of Ryan Martin. 18 of the 20 that are on track remain on the lead lap. Thomas Johnson about 42 seconds back, so not all that far from being put a lap down by race leader Mobin Khan. Oh, we had trouble for Brian Labarge. He's on pit lane and he doesn't have a rear wing.
Oh,
Looking like a Formula Ford out there.
Houston, we have a problem.
Oh, tough
Oh.
luck. Contact with Everett Paddock, and the wing just kind of falls off after the contact. Tough break for Brian. Basically going to end his night. But now Sam Carasala trying to get around Everett Paddock. This is now 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th. All lined up in a row here. Carasala doing a nice job holding off Porcelli and Holler. Paddock falling back through the field, obviously with some damage on that car. Let's take a look and see if we can see where that might be. But front wings look okay. Possibly a little bit of suspension damage, though, after the contact with Brian Labarge. Oh, Porcelli thought about it into West Bend. That's a gutsy place to try a pass. Should get a good tow here down the front straightaway as we work lap number 18. Carasala runs wide. Paddock's going to be there through 2. Oh, we've got a lap car around right in front of this group. Nice job by Ryan Martin to keep that car as best out of the way as he could as Carasala lights up the brakes. Fantastic battle here for the 5th position between Carasala, Porcelli, Holler, Carswell, Heath, and Paddock. Not the only fight on the racetrack, though. A little bit further back, Ian Starup battling with Wes Shire. That's going to be the battle for 13th. Also, Mike Mallard and Simon Fell doing battle here. That group just ahead of the fight between Starup and Shire. Looking back up here towards the front, Brian Molitor holding on to 2nd. Hazelworth runs 3rd. Rod Eskew now in the 4th position. I am pleasantly surprised, quite frankly, with the amount of side-by-side action that we've seen here tonight. Oh, trouble for Rod Eskew, I think.
Oh, blowing the chicane, had to run through the uphill.
Yeah, let's take a look here. Find that one on the instant replay.
Oh, Brian Labarge's car has a rear wing on it now.
Yes, it does. Not entirely sure why it gave us. Let's take a look. There we go. Now it's going to give us the right instant replay. Just kind of got up on the curb and at least he spun all the way out onto the grass, though. Really easy to beach the car there. So now your top 3 sort of breaking away with just about 9 laps to go. We'll wait for your race leader to tick by the start-finish line here in just a moment. Now it's down to 9 to go. Molitor on the inside, Hazelworth outside. Good spot. You can make the crossover work if you can get it. The exit there really good, but Hazelworth not able to, so Molitor going to be able to hold on to position number 2. And I guess a little bit, Bizzle, almost some incentive to just not drive crazy hard here. You're both on the podium. Don't do anything stupid.
Yeah, if your name's Mobin Khan. These two, Molitor and Hazelworth, though, absolutely going to go full send and try and best each other.
Yep, now down to 8 to go, and the lead is 8.5 seconds for Mobin Khan over Brian Molitor. First full week of iRacing action back for 2023 Season 4. I can't believe we're almost talking about being at the end of the year. But from here on out, basically going to be 4 nights a week of racing through the rest of the month of September. It gets a little bit quiet. A couple of nights off the first week of October. 1 night off the second week of October. But basically 4 nights a week iRacing action here on NRN. And well, possibly some other, we'll say, interesting stuff that will be coming. Some real-world racing action, more than just our Spec Corvette guys, who will be back in October as well. But so we got some other stuff up our sleeve here that we're working on now, but a little too early to give everybody details on that one. David Porcelli and Mike Holler still separated only by a couple of car lengths as they work their way through lap traffic. This is the fight for the 5th position. Oh, and Porcelli!
Oh!
Just full punterino!
That's one way to get by.
I guess. Let's take a look here. I mean, were my eyes deceiving me on this?
No, that's full punter.
That's exactly what happened, but David Porcelli, I think, lost a front wing in that. Maybe a little bit of frustration there out of car 1.
I mean, he's certainly not driving like he's missing a front wing.
No, it's definitely still there, too. Looked like we saw it come off, but I guess not. Is that something that is protestable?
It could be.
Anything is protestable. It's just
Yeah.
a matter of what the stewards think.
Like, it's hard to say. I'm not entirely. I don't know. I'm not going to speculate.
Either way, tough deal for Molyneux. He is now on pit lane. Looks like he will finish in position number 18. Only a couple of other battles on the racetrack. Ian Starup and Cole Trexler, they are battling for the 13th position, separated by about 6/10 and catching the lap traffic in, quite frankly, an inopportune spot, costing a bunch of time there. The other battle that we have is Brian Molitor and Alexander Wesley Hazelworth, as we're down to 4 to go. This isn't really so much of a battle yet either, separated by about a half second, 6/10 of a second or so. So we'll head back here to Porcelli and Holler. Interesting comment from the AJ Camargo. Netcode. I had a bit of a problem with it on Tuesday. Seems a bit higher than usual. Could be.
Yeah, especially since we just got an update. This is the first week after an update. It's definitely possible, and I'd say almost likely that they probably tweaked netcode a little bit. It's a little touchy right now.
Yeah. I think a little touchy might be an understatement. We had cars that were, quite frankly, 3 feet apart and spinning on Tuesday night. Let's go back to the battle here for second. Hazelworth trying to hold off Molitor. Molitor going to make the look through the downhill. Oh, that's gutsy. What a pass by Brian Molitor. Are we going to see an answer out of Hazelworth? That really shows you how much speed Molitor was able to carry through that chicane last time, because it's almost like you have to get the car wound back up again once you come out of the chicane. So if you can carry a lot more speed than somebody else through that section of the racetrack, makes the pass in the downhill possible. Molitor now able to
continuing to carry it down the front straightaway.
White flag is out. 1 lap to go for this guy, Mobin Khan. The dominant force all night long. The lead sitting right about 7.8 seconds as he's working his final circuit. Place is so short. I mean, he's practically at about a mile left in this race right now, and he's only about halfway through the lap. Through West Bend, the downhill, and that final right-hander for the final time. Twin checkers will go in the air, and Mobin Khan picks up the win in Indy Pro 2000 here at Lime Rock. Brian Molitor able to hold off Alexander Wesley Hazelworth for second and third. Rod Eskew coming across the line to finish in the fourth position. There you have David Porcelli and Mike Collar finishing up their laps. Rod Eskew setting the fastest lap of the race on the event's final circuit. But there is your race winner, Mobin Khan. Take a look and show you our race results. The winner by 8.5 seconds over Brian Molitor. Alexander Wesley Hazelworth, the law firm, wrapping up the final spot on the podium. Rod Eskew and David Porcelli completing the top 5. 6 through 10, Mike Holler, Ben Carswell, Joe Heath, Everett Paddock, and Sam Carasala. Nice recovery drive there by Paddock. Keep the car up inside the top 10 after the contact. Mark Mallard coming home 11th, Wes Shire 12th. Ian Starrup, the first car, 1 lap down in 13th. 14th belongs to Cole Trexler. 15th, Derek Castor. 16th, Thomas Johnson. 17th to Ryan Martin. Final car running at the finish, James Molyneux 18th. Simon Fell 19th, Brian Labarge in the 20th position. And rounding out our 22-car field, Peter Przbilski and Fernando Gava. All in all, I'll tell you what, not a bad race here tonight. I'm pretty impressed with what we saw here, James.
Yeah, we got a lot of good action up and down the field. We saw a lot of great moves, a lot of ballsy pass attempts that were pulled off without a hitch. And, of course, some argy-bargy to really tie it all together.
Yeah, that's right. We had a good show, and we've got our race winner now here in Victory Lane with us. Matt P. checking in saying, let's go Mobin. That's how you do it, buddy. Putting on a clinic today. Jason Taylor saying you're making the team look good. Congratulations, man. That was impressive. You ran away with it from the start, and then it was just seemed like you were able to really dictate pace tonight.
Yeah, I mean, that's as good as it gets. First of all, I want to give a shout out to Adam Crane, who's helped me prepare since day one for this series. This is the 4th season now. A shout out to Echelon Simsport, Dr. Dabber, Final Lap GP. And man, I just learned this track a day ago, and clocked like a little over 100 laps that night, just trying to learn the track. And it's one of these momentum tracks where it's like each 10th counts, so you need to be within a 10th throughout the race. And I didn't really know because I thought Q would be extremely close, and it was. But a pole position, that's the first in this split. That was really, really nice. So I like to be at the front. That's kind of the best place to start from. just want to achieve that and then be able to control pace like I did today. When I saw 3 wide in my rear view off to turn 1, I said, oh, if I put a clean lap 1, I might break the toe here.
Well, that's exactly what happened. I mean, this place, it's not necessarily thought of as a draft track, but you do carry a ton of speed around this place, and being able to break the draft on lap 1 really was kind of one of your keys to victory tonight, I would think.
Yeah, and I also have to give a shout out to some of the traffic. They were so, like, they took it so easy on me. They made it really easy to manage. I thought that was going to be a problem when I saw, especially the 4-car gaggle. And near the end, I was like, oh, and I knew they were in their own race, and I was like, I don't want to get in on this, but they let me through. So I'm grateful for that. I'm really grateful.
Well, congratulations on it. It was a fantastic win here tonight. You sound like a pro. You're already getting all the sponsor plugs in, but before we let you go, any other thank yous or shout outs you want to do? You got a chance to get them in now, brother.
I'd like to thank you guys for coming here every Thursday night, and anybody who's watching the broadcast. We appreciate it. It's our own little world here, and it looks like it's growing. We almost split tonight, and I'm hoping the next race splits and we get some more participants.
I hope so, and I very much agree with you. Hopefully the broadcasts are working their magic a little bit to draw some people in. And Mobin, congratulations on the win once again. Thank you very much for coming to hang out with us here. And now let's bring in our third place finisher tonight, Alexander Wesley Hazelworth. You had quite frankly, a pretty spectacular battle going on with Brian Molitor there late in the race. Maybe a little bit of what James is calling argy-bargy. I might call it a little bit of grab-ass. But whatever you want to call it, looked like a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. He definitely was racing pretty hard, and especially at the last corner where we got a lot of understeer.
Yeah, it seemed like that was the pass into that final corner. I did not see that coming as a passing opportunity tonight, purely because you didn't keep the speed up out of the chicane, and it took so long to get the car wound up. Did it catch you off guard a little bit?
Yeah, I was definitely caught off guard because I was going to turn in, and then I noticed he was still there. So.
You go to turn it and you go, oh shit, there's somebody here. Well, I'll tell you what, you got to be pretty jacked up though. Obviously with David finishing in 5th tonight, this is really a nice way to start a points campaign out. Put the car on the podium, be really consistent with pace all night long, and you got to be looking forward to the rest of the season now and possibly trying to pick up a championship.
Yeah, you got that right. I'm hoping that I actually make it to all the broadcast for the ovals this season.
Yeah, hope so. That's the switch to them counting oval iRating versus road iRating has kind of thrown some guys off. Is that something that it's an iRating issue for you, or is it just a matter of scheduling and kind of life being life?
It's strictly iRating. I'm pretty low iRating on oval. The cover's like 1900 and something like that.
Well, I guess we know where we'll see you spending some time in the Cars Late Model Tour or something here, farming some iRating. But Alexander, congratulations! A really nice run for you here tonight. And before we let you go, do all the big sponsor plugs and thank yous.
Thank you, Team Watson, for the setup, and nice racing, Brian.
All right, buddy. Well, thank you much. We appreciate you coming to hang out with us here. And, man, I'll tell you what here. James, we'll come back to you first to kind of kick things off. We said it at one point during the race. We kind of figured this might be what we get. You know, a race that was a little bit strung out, and then all of a sudden with a handful of laps to go, it kind of came alive, and we really got a good show several points throughout the field.
Yeah, it's almost as if everyone just kind of was like, okay, we've saved enough. We've been cautious enough. Let's go for it. We've only got a few laps left. Let's see what we can pull off. And we saw some great moves being pulled off. Like I said, it's hard to pass here, but it's not impossible to pass if you know what you're doing. And thankfully, we have a lot of people in the series that know what they're doing, and they showed it. Great racing.
Yeah, great racing, and quite frankly, Patrick, I mentioned this before we came on the air, but I will gladly take a 22-car split of some of the best on the iRacing platform in this car over participation numbers that get to 35 a week, and you're running 12, 13-car split races. I would much rather see the full field and a single split than a couple of two smaller splits. And quite frankly, if this series becomes that kind of niche league like the Lotus 49s and the Lotus 79s, so be it.
Yeah, it makes it a ton of fun. Someone who runs in those niche leagues, like when we run Lime Rock and Lotus 49, it's a full grid for the Saturday morning races, and we cap our car counts for each week at how many pit stalls are at the track. So Lime Rock, we'll get 55, 60 cars out there, and all of a sudden you have your really fast guys racing us really slow guys, and we're lap traffic for them. So as we're having our battles for 25th, 30th position, they're having a battle for the lead, and all of a sudden it's a four-way fight, them trying to get the runs down the straightaway, and you really see who's not only the best at setting hot laps and running away from everyone, but who's the best at navigating lap traffic as well.
Yeah, if we're dealt the hand we're dealt by the iRacing platform and the rules and regulations that we get from them. So at this point, I'll take that kind of smaller split and, quite frankly, let these guys run with it, because they put on one heck of a show for us, and they did it here once again tonight. But that's going to wrap up our week of coverage of iRacing here on NRN. I am off to Toledo for, it's not SRL Super Late Models, the ASA Stars Tour, the biggest of the big Super Late Models, running Toledo this weekend. Noah Gregson making his return to racing out there. You can check that one out. Just search on the socials for ASA Stars Tour, and you can get all the information on the broadcast there. Coming back next week, Monday night, 9:45 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, the Silver Crowns taking on Southern National. TNT Shock Series heads off to Milwaukee on Tuesday night, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Wednesday, we head to Dover with the Sim Racers Club, and then these guys are heading to Watkins Glen International. Westshire is tired of running the same tracks over and over again. I am not tired of seeing Indy Pros at Watkins Glen, because my God, is that always a fantastic race. We're looking forward to bring it all to you, and quite frankly, we're going to enjoy the real world at racing this weekend as well. But with that, time for us to get the heck on out of here. For James, Patrick, and everybody here at NRN that makes these shows happen, my name is Chris Graham. Thank you so much for coming to hang out with us, and we'll talk to you all soon. Have a great night, everybody.